This year, America turns 250, and there's one dessert that has been stealing the hearts of Americans since the very beginning. And today, we are turning America's favorite dessert into three little adorable pies, and we're presenting them in three different styles. Today is my first video on our series of America's favorite desserts over the past 250 years. So let's get cooking. Friends, let's go ahead and start our fillings. We're going to do blueberry first. Remember, we've got three fillings: cherry, apple, and blueberry. And I want to do about, I don't know, I'll see how many I have. Because I'm making three types of pie, I don't need to go overboard. I already rinsed these in a nice water vinegar bath, and I forgot a couple of the stems. And let's see what I have. I've got 4 cups. Yep, I don't really know if I need that. So let's start with 1 cup. Whoops, boy, did I forget some stems. These are nice and fresh, right? Cup. There's so many different variations. I say so many. There's a few variations. Some people use frozen. I'm going to do this variation where you cook some of them and then add some of the fresh ones. You know what, I'm going to do about a cup and a half. Good. Yeah, I think I'm good. And then we'll add some fresh ones to it. So we've got this on medium high heat. We're going to add a little bit of water. Let's see, what do I have in there? And we're not going to add the sugar. Some people add the sugar right away. Some people let it cook a little bit. I'm going to wait a little bit to put my sugar in. Let's put about a half a cup of water. I'm about right there. We'll let that get bubbling. I usually would use like a heavy saucepan, but this bottom has a heavy bottom. I just wanted you to be able to see into the pan better. That's why I used this. So, all right, while we're waiting for this to pop a little bit, then we'll add our sugar. We're going to need the zest of 1 lemon. And you know what? We can just do it over here. I was going to put it in the bowl, but I got these really cute bowls. I wanted to use them, but save ourselves dishes. Smells good. This just brightens up your blueberry filling. Now, you don't have to use this blueberry filling for pies. You can use it for cheesecake if you're making that. If, you wanted to use it for your pancakes, whatever topping as a dessert. I make a yummy blueberry lemon cake too. This would be a perfect filling for that. Just getting the yellow zest. Try not to get any of that pith. If you could only smell this. Let's cut this in half and juice. Get ready for our juice. And I usually roll my lemons first, kind of like this, so it releases some of the juices, but I forget sometimes. Smells good. And we are going to add sugar, a little lemon juice, a little vanilla, and a little bit of nutmeg. Just a little bit. Cinnamon and nutmeg. I like a little bit of nutmeg in my blueberry pie. Now, if I was making a big blueberry pie, I wouldn't make this filling like this. I would just put the whole blueberries and do a little bit of a different recipe. Oh, this is thickening up just from the juices of the blueberries. This is awesome. All right, so let's put in our sugar. We're going to put a half a cup. I'm using organic coconut. I think it's coconut sugar. I'll get the container a little bit. Let's use half a cup. Oh, that smells good. Now let's go ahead. Some of these are starting to burst. I could get my other camera out, but I'm on a roll here. As you can see, these are starting to, they definitely popped. And I turned the heat down to about 4, and I'm going to add, let's see, I might leave 1 cup behind. I'm going to add those fresh. You know what? I wanted to have a few. I'm going to put a few more. I want just some for my breakfast tomorrow morning. All right, we put in our sugar. We put in our lemon zest. You need about 1/8 to 1/4 teaspoon of salt. That just helps everything. Let's do half of that, 1/8. Yeah, we could do 1/4. Turn this up to 5. Because you want a little gentle simmer. All right, let's use a little nutmeg. I think I probably have like 1/4 teaspoon of it in there. Now, ooh, I'm almost out of cinnamon. Start with a 1/2 teaspoon. Yeah. Oh, that came out. Let's put a little more in there. So. You know what? I'm going to put the rest of my blueberries because I feel like I put too much. No blueberries for breakfast! Unless I go back out to the store, but that probably won't happen today. Alright, so we got that. I'll let that cook a little bit. Let's make a slurry for our thickener. And you know, this is thickening nice just even with the sugar, but we do want it to be a little thicker than that. So, where did I do my cornstarch? I'm going to start with 2 tablespoons. Let's put our lemon juice in here. I don't know if we need that whole lemon on there. Let's put a tablespoon of water. Oh, maybe a smidgen more because it splashed in there. We're just going to whisk that up so we have a nice little slurry. You don't want any lumps in there. When we put this in there, you got to cook it out a little bit. So you do have to let this cook a minute or 2 to cook out that cornstarch flavor. You don't want it be bitter. All right, let's see. Put that in there. Gets a little bit cloud. Let's turn it down a little bit. I'm going to turn it back down to 4. You stir it now and then because you don't want this to burn at all. Wow, this is thickening up really quick. When I staggered putting my blueberries in, some will be cooked down way more and some will have a little more of a fresh bite. And that's just how I want it. Like I said, if I was doing a big pie, I wouldn't make the filling like this. I would just put the fresh blueberries right in the pie crust with a cornstarch, with our sugars and all that. But because these are going to be little, no, I have never made mini pies before, so I'm thinking the crust will cook pretty quick. So I want the fruit to be cooked enough. You don't want your overdone or well done pie crust, and then your fruit is all it's not nice and softened and easy to bite into. So this is looking pretty good. Now we can add our vanilla. We've already added our cinnamon. What do I have on here? 1 teaspoon of vanilla. I'm using the organic vanilla bean paste. All right, I think we can turn the heat off on that, and now we're going to add our butter. I want about 1 to 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter. That will help it thicken and just give you good flavor to your pie. Let's see, 1, 2. Let's start with 1. That might be a little more than 1. Now, if we were making the pie crust like a regular blueberry pie, we would just cut up little dots of butter and put it on top of our pie. Our pie. Oh, can I talk today? That smells very good. We're going to let this completely cool. The cherry is probably going to take us the longest because we've got to take the pits out of there. We're going to pit the cherries now, and that's a messy job. So that's why I'm wearing the apron. Now, if you had a cherry pitter, there's a little device that can take these out very easily. And I think I'm going to get it because, you know what, I usually haven't made that many cherry pies over the years, but lately I've been making more. So this will work. I'm using a smoothie straw. This is a hard plastic. A flimsy straw will not work, believe me. So you're gonna just be careful because I lost 1 seed and I moved my blueberry filling to the table to cool down because I don't know where that seed went. I'm going to search high and low because I'm not going to serve anybody that blueberry filling if there's a cherry pit because we don't want to break anybody's teeth. So I'm just holding this over the bowl. And if you've got some better suggestions, I'm glad to hear. I'm all ears. I know somebody, who was it? I think the lady from the Hillbilly Kitchen. What's her name again? I forget. I have to look it up. Becky, I think her name is. Or Rebecca. Maybe. Anyway, she had, I think, a little jar or something. Um, but I'm like, what do you do? How do you get the pits out of there? Well, I could hold this over a little mason jar too. That might work, but this works. Oh, my bad. Look at the hands. I can't believe. I know I need to wear rubber gloves because this takes days to remove. Hold on. Okay, this is much better. We're protected. You definitely want that. So this takes a while. You know, you can take off all your stems and take your seeds out. Really up to you. This takes a while. You can put on some nice music, sit at the table. I would sit down and do this because it takes a while. And I've got probably a good whopping 5 cups because this is a 4 cup holder and I have it had it piled over, so I probably got a good 5 cups. I'm going to do a few on here just to show you how to do it. Then I'm going to sit down. I think I remember I had a different smoothie straw I used. You know those fat? Actually, I think this is probably not so much for smoothie because it's skinny. You know the smoothie straws I'm talking about? They're a lot wider. Some of them work well, but they only hold up to so many cherries. I have done that. All right, so just do a few more for you. You can see. I'm just going, see where I took the stem out? I'm just going into there, pressing in. I don't want my pit to go flying. Pressing right in. And there you go. So, I'll see you when this is over with. Friends, it took about 40 minutes to pit all these cherries, and I sliced most of them in half. I'm just got these last few to do. You definitely want to sit at the table. Now this is going to be well worth it. If we're making a whole pie, we wouldn't have to. We would still have to pit them, but we probably could do the cherries whole, I imagine. It's been a long time since I'm trying to think when I made a cherry pie last. But anyway, we want these smaller because we are making mini pies. So here we've got, I would say that's a good 5 cups of cherries. Let me put this bowl aside. Definitely need a tea towel or a dish towel to put on the table because it splatters. Definitely need. Let's see, did I get much on myself? I don't think so. I did get some on my arms. I wiped them down though. So let's go ahead and put about 1/3 of this to start. I'll put this on medium high, maybe 7, and let's get a little bit of water. Let's see. Do I have another measure? Oh. Let's start with let's see, 1/4. Oh, let's do 1/2. And we want to cook this to bring out the juices a little bit. If we're using frozen cherries, it's going to be a little bit different because the juices will come out a lot quicker with that. So we're going to let that bubble up a little bit and a little bit more. I decide, excuse me, I decided just to put all my cherries in there now because I got so much to do and I think this will work okay. So we're going to put a little bit more water. about a quarter cup there. And we really want to just get the juices pulled out of these cherries. Let's put some sugar. We're going to use half a cup. I'm using coconut sugar for this also. Just want to keep a close eye on it because you don't want your cherries to burn or overcook. So we've got it on 6 right now. You want the sugar to dissolve and pull out the juices. We can go ahead and add our salt. This is starting to bubble up a little bit. We want to stir it every now and then. And remember, you don't have to use a saute pan. I'm just doing that so you can get a better look. You can use it like a saucepan to do this. There was another point I was going to bring. Oh, and if you weren't doing mini pies, you could put your whole the cherries whole in there. You don't have to have them, but because we're doing mini pies, that's why. So we're going to use about 1/8 a teaspoon of table salt. And we're going to add our slurry. I've got about 3 tablespoons of lemon juice, fresh squeezed. We got the zest of 1 lemon. Let's put that in here. And then we're going to put some cornstarch. We're going to use about 3 tablespoons. This is a half tablespoon measure, so we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's give that a stir. Now, one comment. Oh, I know what I was going to tell you about this sugar. This might change if you're not used to the coconut sugar. You know, it's a little more, I don't know if it's a nuttier or buttier, a nutty or buttery kind of flavor to it. So if you don't care for that, you can put granulated sugar in here. So we're just going to add just a little bit of water. Make a slurry here. Just going to thicken up really quick. The lemon is going to give us a nice brightness. This one, when I tasted the blueberry, after the blueberry cooled off, I tasted it. I'm like, oh, this is more buttery than I remember. And I'm like, you know what? It's that coconut sugar. I haven't used it in pie filling. I'm trying to think of, I must have, but I just don't remember. We're going to turn down this heat a little bit. Smells really good. Let that cornstarch cook out a little bit. Probably takes like a good minute or so. How doesn't that look nice and rich? You could use this on top of cheesecake, pancakes. Ice cream sundaes, right? I can remember, let me tell you a story. So years ago, we lived in upstate New York, and we went to this really fancy restaurant. served several courses. It was called the Tory Tavern in Schoharie, New York, and the food was incredible. Incredible. It's uh, no longer running that restaurant. It's a shame. It's been around for years and years, but they made this cherry sundae, vanilla ice cream with a cherry sauce. You just, have never tasted anything it's so delicious before like that. Whenever I think of cherry pie filling, I think of that sauce. I'm sure they must have used some kind of liqueur in there. It was amazing, amazing, amazing. And actually, Tory Tavern, I think that it definitely has more historical. I need to look it up before I get talking about it. I don't know totally what I'm talking about, but I know the Tories were part. There was Schoharie County is the breadbasket of the Revolutionary War. I do know that. That's a lot of the crops for uh, the army was came out of Schoharie County. And anyway, there were some battles there during the Revolutionary War period, and I know the Tories were. I don't know if they were a troop or what, but anyway, I know that Tory Tavern has some historical roots. That's all I'll say about it because I don't know anymore, and I don't want to butcher it. All right, so we've got that going. Let's add. I was gonna put vanilla, and then I'm like, oh wait a minute, no. Let's put almond extract. Now we won't need as much. We're gonna use about a half a teaspoon. This almond extract is really, really uh, strong. Oh my gosh, it smells good. I want to just check my notes. Give me a second. Make sure I didn't forget anything. Get my cornstarch. Yep. So right at the end, we'll put a little bit of butter. I'll let this totally cool down before we can refrigerate it, and then we need it totally cool down before we make our pies. So you don't have to do this all at once. I'm just happen to want to have or celebrate our 250th anniversary as a country. So I wanted to do something special, but it's a lot of work. So because we made the pie crust ahead, now we're making 3 fillings. You can just do one of these. Or if you're in for the whole 9 yards, then go for it. But let me know if you do. I'd love to see some pictures of your little mini pie crusts or pies. Whew. All right, let's put a little bit of butter. We're using 1 tablespoon. Yeah, that's all I think I might use. I had on my little notes 2 tablespoons, but I think that probably would have been better if I had 6 cups of um, cherries. I don't want to overdo it. I have 5. I'll have to do a little mini short on, I did a cute little thing uh, for refreshments at church. I made a little flag fruit tray, and I used cherries and raspberries and strawberries, and of course blueberries. And then for the white part, I used those wafer cookies, not the round Nilla wafers, but they're yeah, I don't know what they're called. They're like long strips and they're kind of crispy. They usually like have a vanilla or strawberry chocolate filling. That's what but I'll try to put a picture up here. Let's hope I remember. Or do a little short anyway. This is a cute way to serve. Have something look festive and patriotic. So I think we're good. I think this kind of have it to the, it definitely thickens up after it rests a little bit. So we're gonna let that cool before we put it away, and on to the apple pie filling next, or depending on what order I put this video. But we are going to clean up a little. We're going to go ahead and peel and core our apples and chop them up. We want to cook this pie filling just like the others because here's an apple core. It has this little, once you put it down in the apple, you just release it with that little there. It has a nice little firm handle on there. You just go down into the center and out comes your, pretty easy. Sometimes it gets it all, sometimes not, but yeah, you want to peel and cut these little because, and if we were making a big apple pie, we would just, denser apples are a little more trickier to get these out, but it does work. You just need a little more elbow grease. Yeah, what was I saying? Oh, if I was making a big apple pie, I wouldn't cook down the apples. And on a few occasions, you will see apple pies that they do kind of pre-cook the apples a little bit, get them softened. But for the most part, a large apple pie, you're just going to put the raw. Oh, I'm off center on that. So we've lost some of our apple, and we'll have to cut that one open and use a paring knife to get the all the core out. But for these smaller pies, they're going to cook quicker. So we want to make sure our apples are cooked and nice and soft. So that's why we're making this pie filling. Now I'm using a mixture of apples. Granny Smith are a great tart apple to make apple pies. And we are using some Golden Delicious. And I'm using one Cosmic Crisp. That's a sweeter apple. That is a little dense also. Let's see, can I go in here? I can't believe apparently I can't talk and chew gum at the same time, folks. There we go. Oh, we lost a lot of our apple on that one. But that's okay. We got plenty here. All right, let's peel. We're not going to do anything fancy about it. We're just going to chop it in little cubes, little bite-sized pieces. You don't want it to be utterly mush. You can put your favorite apples however you like to make. So the reason I picked apple pie filling as part of it, is because the apple pie is one of the oldest favorite desserts our nation has loved over the last 250 years. I was doing some research on it, and I'm like, I wanted to see what the top 10 desserts were. Very interesting. Some of them I was surprised to see on the list. And then I narrowed it down while I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do a video on the top 10 desserts. That would be too much. I might do, well, I definitely am going to do the top 3. That's the plan. Lord willing and the creek don't rise. But that's the plan. I already have it kind of planned out. But apple pie is the number 1. And I guess that's not shocking because we have that classic saying, as is American as apple pie. It's just got into our culture, hasn't it? So just some interesting facts about apple pie. I'm going to go ahead and cut these up. See how nice that is? Once you have the, you can do it in slices. If I was doing it in slices, I would use wedges for my, a little bit of peel there, or my large apple pie. But with this one, we still can chop it in wedges. And you just really want it smaller. And these will cook down a little bit. We just don't want huge pieces. And we don't want it utterly tiny so that it will be mush. But you could even kind of go like this. Well, the plan was to go down and make it like that, but let's stick to wedges. But yeah, I was like, I'm not surprised that apple pie got to be number 1. The interesting thing though is when and I've read a few different things concerning apple pie. I was reading that the early settlers, they didn't have access to sugar as easily, which kind of makes sense to me. It's like sometimes you read these things and you're like, I don't know how true this is. It sounds like it could be true. Makes sense. But they used to sweeten their apple pie with a thing called rose water. Have you ever heard of that before? I have not. When I think of rose water, I think like of a perfume or something. But I guess apparently they used it in baking to help sweeten. I've seen some older recipes. I looked up some older recipes of apple pie, and early recipes have sugar. Some have that rose water. So I think more than anything, recipes I found. Now this Granny Smith is pretty big, so I'm just cutting these pieces a little smaller. A little snitch for the cook. I even read in some research that they didn't use some of the earlier pies didn't have access to like cinnamon as easily. I'm talking about like the late 1700s. So maybe the apple pie back then tasted a little different. Now I've made this recipe. I did this one other time. Well, I've already shot all my video footage for the cherry pies and the blueberry pies. It's all going to be on one video. And I did do the apple, but I'm doing it again because I didn't like the size of my apple pies, and I played with the dough so much that when they baked, they weren't as pretty. Now, they tasted great. I mean, how can you mess up an apple pie? I don't think you can mess it up too easily, but I wanted them to look pretty, so I'm going round 2. And we'll see. And one of the things I really wanted to do, I did on the first batches, I didn't put cinnamon. I did it all spice. And I did a lot of lemon juice and lemon zest. So just wake up the apples and give it that bright apple flavor. I don't know about you. I love apples. Love them, love them. I love all the different apples. It's close to one of my favorite fruits, I would think. I used to live in upstate New York, and there are so many varieties of apple pie. So we're going to just go ahead and finish this up. I'm not going to bore you with every last bit of chopping. All right, friends, I've got a saute pan on the stove here. I'm going to put that up to about medium, and we're going to put about 3 tablespoons or so of unsalted butter. I think we're going to do 4. I'm trying to remember what I did last time. I didn't look at my notes first, so I might have done a whole stick. But I think that's a little too much. There we go. I'll let that get good and melted. Now we're going to throw our apples in there. We're going to use the zest and juice of 1 lemon. Now what I do is I just roll on that lemon before I cut it open to juice it. It helps release some of the juice in there. The lemon juice helps brighten up like that flavor, but it also helps, I think, from the browning of your apples. I mean, if you add the allspice, what's that? If you add the allspice, it's not as dark as adding cinnamon. Your apples won't be as dark. But if you add the cinnamons, they're going to get that brown look anyway. It smells good. All right, let me actually zest this while let a little bit of that water burn off in the butter. Probably really shouldn't be wasting another dish. But let's go ahead and put our apples very carefully. I'm going to think this is good 4 or 5 cups of apple. No, let's just put our zest in there. Now, hard to get it out of that bowl. I wanted to use my patriotic bowls today. All right, let's go ahead and zest the 1 lemon, or zest of 1 lemon on there. And this is a microplaner. I highly recommend you get one of these if you don't have one. I've had this for, I'm trying to think. I know I've had it over 15 years, and it still works great. Pardon the pun, the grater works great. Well, it's really called a microplane. And then it just collects all the zest there. It's very sharp though, be careful. All right, we got it all, pretty much. All right, let's. We can turn this down a little bit because we don't want to overcook them. We just want to saute and get them nice and soft. Let them release some of their juices. I want to get some of these seeds out. I don't want to get that in my apples. There we go. I think I got most of them out. juice of 1 lemon. And you're going to see this is going to really cook down. Well, I'll throw that one away. Wash my hands, they're getting sticky. All right, let's put a pinch of salt in here. About 1/4 teaspoon. All right, we're going to let these release some of their natural liquids. And we're going to add the seasoning, the sugar, and we're going to add a little bit of flour to this too. You can use cornstarch or flour. I've had these apples sauteing just in the lemon juice and the butter. And we can put some seasoning in there. And then we'll put our sugar in there. I'm going to do a teaspoon of allspice. Not quite a whole teaspoon. Let's put a little, we'll do just a little cinnamon. The last batch I didn't put any at all. Oh, I got a brand new thing, cinnamon. Let's open that up. Love the smell of allspice. That smells really yummy. Now that allspice is pretty dark, but it does lighten up in there as you mix it into the whole batch. I took another lemon and I used like 1/4 of that lemon for zest. Normally I don't have to do that, but I think the other lemon was a little bit of a dud. I wasn't smelling the nice bright lemon is. So I added just a little bit more juice, probably a teaspoon or so. All right, it's a 1/4 teaspoon. I'm gonna start with 1/2 teaspoon. If you like a lot of cinnamon in yours, which when I make a whole pie, I generally do put a good whopping teaspoon. But I'm doing this one a little bit different. It tastes great just with even just the allspice. And let's do about 1/2 cup of sugar. I got to use my patriotic bowl. Probably will have to add. No, this is gonna start to thicken up with that sugar too. We might have to put a little bit of water in here. Oh, that smells grand. I'll let that cook for a couple minutes. We're going to add our flour. We'll add a little water in there too. And I've got this on medium heat. Oh, it smells good. All right, let's put a little bit of our water. I think we're going to need about a half a cup. There was a quarter cup. Yeah. We'll start with a half a cup. We might even need a little bit more than that. I'm just going to have a nice filling. Once we're done with this, we're going to set this aside and let it cool, and we're going to work on our pie crust. And I'll show you some gadgets around the house you can use to cut out your pie crust. Because remember, these are mini pies. We did the blueberry with little tartlets. We did the cherry with cupcake pans. And this one is going to be what they call a hand pie. Yeah, I think I need a little bit more water in there. I think we'll be good with another quarter cup. I think we'll cook this probably for another couple of minutes. Oh, it smells so good. And just keep your eye. If it's too thick, you can add a little more water. And we'll keep our eye on it. I'm going to keep it on low, medium low. I'm going to get ready for my pie crust. I have my pie crust chilling. This I made ahead of time, froze it, took it out of the freezer yesterday. And we're gonna, it's pretty wet. It's probably gonna need a lot of flour on our flouring service. I'll take about half of that. I probably should have put an apron on. Let me save some of my plastic wrap. Banana. Maybe. So I've used a whole cup of water in here. The smell is great. I think it's to the consistency we want. Yeah, these are nice and fork tender. And we're going to let that cool off. You probably could even do a little more liquid. I don't want to make it too runny. As they cool, they may thicken. We might have to add a little bit more water. All right, let's flour this really well. Now, one trick that I do, or one tip I do, I don't know if that's a trick, but sometimes I'll roll out my dough, like I'll put my plastic wrap on here. It rolls out nicer. You can put it on both sides. But we're just going to get this nice and thin to the size we want our You have to switch it now and then because like this dough is extremely wet. Now last time I did this, I said I ended up using too small of a cutter and the hand pies weren't as big as I wanted them, and I fussed with the dough too much. And like I said, they tasted fine. They tasted great actually, but I just didn't like the way they looked. So I think this is the thinness I'm going for. We're gonna get another plate, excuse me. Okay, so let me show you what I used last time. I used these to cut it out. I thought, oh, this will be big enough, but it really wasn't. It was too small. And then I had to roll out the dough a little bit more. This time, I'm going for something a lot bigger. Look at the difference. I think we're going to be okay with this. That's what I'm thinking. I think this needs just to be a little thinner. Okay. And let's see how many we can get. Now, when you first look at this, you're like, wow, that's big. But they are going to be folded in half. And I'm not getting a whole lot out of one thing. So I'm only getting 3 out of that. But this is the thickness of it. And let's see how many I can get out of this batch. This was really enough for like, I'm trying to think if this is half was 2 pies or, because I did so many batches the other day. I'm like, how many do I have here? I think each half was enough for a top and a bottom pie crust, but maybe I'm wrong. But depending on how much hand pies you make, or any of your fruit pies, you're going to have to adjust how many pie crust dough batches you make. I'm just trying to get at least 2 more here. For the whole batch of blueberry, cherry, and apple, I know I had 6, enough for 6 pie crusts, like if I was making pies. And you can see we got our nice flecks of butter and shortening in there. After I get these done, I'm gonna go ahead and preheat my oven to 400. And this one side is a little bigger, so I gotta stretch it out, roll it out a little more. All right, so we've got 5. Maybe I can make 10 ham pies out of that whole big batch of dough. I'm gonna put these in the fridge and then let that chill and roll out the next. You got the drill. And preheat that oven. We are ready to put together these pies. Let's see, actually, let's take the bottom one because they were in here chilled. You definitely want to, after you cut them out, let them chill up a little bit. I put a little more flour on my board so these don't stick. They should be okay. I'll put these back in there. And some of them shrunk down. I think it's when I got a rip. These 3 initial ones, they came out as nice and big. Let's work on those first. I'm going to take a little egg wash. I'm just going to do the outside edges. A little bit of a glue for our ham pies. When I rolled out that dough, these ones aren't as big as these. Let's get a spoon. And our filling is really kind of room temperature. So we're going to set this off center. Put some of our filling in there. The trick is not to overfill, but you definitely want to have something to bite into. So then we're just going to take that. We're going to push it down with our finger here all along the edges. And then if we want a nice little decoration, we can use the back of a fork, or you can use the fork tines. Well, that kind of doesn't... I wanted to have a more impression on there, but it's not doing what I wanted totally. I'll do some this way, and then some kind of the traditional way. I'm going to take a paring knife and we're going to vent those. That helps the steam to come out, and that way, hopefully we won't have a blowout on our apple pies, because we want them to look pretty since we're serving them for 4th of July or summer cookout. There we go. You just use your fingers too and have a cute little... Oh, that wasn't as pretty. Let me smush it down. No, let's put them right. I don't want to handle them a lot. Let me get my baking sheet. Usually I will put parchment paper, but I'm all out. If you have a little hard problem, pick them. If you have one of these little pastry scrapers or something, that will get it off your board nice without... Because they are warming up quite a bit. I think these need to go back in the fridge. I'm going to put the whole pan in there. I don't want to dirty another plate. It's got to have a little patience. We forgot to put our little venting in that other one. Can't do that. I can't get a close up of me. There. And before we put these in the oven, we're going to put another egg wash and a little sprinkle of sugar. We're making quite a few. It's going to take you a little bit. You might decide just to do, you're like, okay, I'm not making 3 batches of different mini pie crusts or mini pies. And that's okay. But if you wanted to do any of them, then now you know, get an idea of how to put them together. All right. But this trick to this, I think, is doing a lot of things ahead. If you make your pie crust on a whole different day, so much easier. It's hard to do it all in one day. You're doing a big batch. I'm going to put my egg wash in the fridge too. Okay. So, I'm going to use these cute little tartlet pans. This is the first time using it, so let's see how it goes. I don't know if I need to spray them lightly. I mean, you don't spray a pie pan. I'm going to forego that. But I'm just going to go around and get as many as I can out of here. Let's see if we can lift those up. No, I guess I didn't press hard enough. You could use cookie cutters. We could put these in cupcakes pans. And I've seen quite a few people do that. All right. Shouldn't be. You know what? I'm going to put this other one back in the fridge. It's already getting too soft. Well, I thought this would be easier to cut out. Maybe my pie is too. No, it's not. I was thinking, oh, the pie dough's too thick. I'm going to press down a little bit more. This should be a lot easier. Of course, this is going to be going in the bottom. I really don't know if it has to be. Well, that's just not high enough. So, but that could be perfect for the top, maybe. Let me try. Maybe I just needed to do a round disc for the bottom. Yeah, let's pull this away. The dough, press it down. Maybe we'll use these for the tops. These will be cute. Just want them a little more distinct, right? Clean up the edges here. Yeah. We'll see how this plan works. I don't like how this cuts out so not so easy. I saw some people use mason lid jars for their to cook their mini pie crust, and that's super cute. I wish I had thought of that earlier. I have some mason jars in my storage closet. I would have to dig them out. They're brand new, so you could use the lids on those. But I don't want to dig through my stuff. You got a better idea on how to cut that there. That worked pretty good. Yeah, that works the best. Flip it over like that and just peel it off. We'll use these for the tops. It's not perfect. Pretty good though. We're going to have to put these back in the fridge to chill a little bit. We'll put them on a plate. So here's the plan, I think. We'll get a lot of them cut out. We can put them in the fridge to chill and then pop them in the... Fill them and pop them in the oven. I've rolled out that second dough. So now we're going to put the... spilled water over here. We're going to... we're going to... On my pie crust. I was patching up a hole. I didn't mean to spill that on there, so it was a paper towel and soak that up. Because it's going to be hard to pick that up, maybe. Not sure what size that is, but it's a lid to some of my containers. Let's see, what is this? This is one of my ball containers. It doesn't have the measurement, but it fits on that. And I think this is going to be good. Yeah, that's kind of nice for that. So we'll fill these up and then we'll put this plate in the fridge. We'll see how many we can get here. Kind of want to just fold it down in there. I don't think you don't need to press really hard. Let's pray these come out pretty easy. Because we definitely want them to come out. I might do half sprayed and half not. Oh, I ripped that one. No worries. I'm going to use a little cold water to... Now, I would say these mini tarts, in a way, are probably more work than a regular pie, right? But they're going to be super cute, and they're going to be worth it. And they'll make you happy, make your guests happy. It's just a lot of fun. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that's right. I was going to spray 4 of them. These probably will come out much easier. Probably a good idea. Did that. We'll see. I don't want them too oily. I didn't spray too much, so it should be good. Gonna roll out some more dough, put more flour down. Remember, we have that filling sitting out. We took it out of the fridge. If you don't fill yours right away, then you don't have to. Your filling is already room temperature if you fill them right away. But if you do it the next day, you want to bring it up to room temperature. And I've had mine sitting out for 40 minutes or so. Because you don't want to put the ice cold filling. If you do chill it overnight, you don't want to put ice cold filling in those pie crusts because it'll take forever for it to get up to. That will be cold and your pie crust will be done. That will be not a good plan. Yikes. These aren't all perfectly the same size, but I'm going to chill these. Let's do a little egg wash there. Put a teaspoon of water with some 1 egg. A little more water. All right, we've got that ready. We've got our filling out. Let's give it a little taste. I did taste it last night, but it's going to taste even better once it sets, I think. That was good. That is good. All right, so I'm not going to put those little tarts in the oven just like that because I think that's going to be hard to manage. I'm going to put them on a cookie tray. Got them nice and chilled. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Give them a little bit of a spacing. Let's put our filling in. Now we could, so we know we have pretty much the same amount, we could try this. I'm going to see if this is going to be just the right amount, hopefully. That might be too, no, I'm just going to put, yeah, I think that'll be okay. Kind of getting it flat a little bit. You don't want it right to the edge because we got to seal down the top. It's going to be cute. Oh my gosh, I think these are going to be so stinking cute. All right, let's put our lids on. Put this back in the fridge. Well, no, are we going to make another batch? I only might make 8 for now because I only have so much pie crust. You know what? I don't have space until I rearrange things. So, wash the hands, they're sticky. I'm going to use this to wet around the side so it can stick. Probably even just use water. Let's see, whatever's easy. What's the easiest? And I don't know if I told you, I don't remember, but I did press these in more because I'm like, oh, I want to have the shape of the little tartlet. So we'll see. See how easy they are to pull out. Trying to do the edges. Okay. Now let's get our tops out. And put this aside. I don't want them to get all hot from the heat of the oven. All right. One thing we do need to pierce a little X in there. Let's use our paring knife. Oh, let's do a little X in the middle. So that they can vent. If you haven't checked out any of my lives, last year had a wonderful opportunity to watch a beautiful display of fireworks on in someone's neighborhood. So in Washington State, in a lot of the towns, people do fireworks. I never knew I would experience such amazing fireworks moving to Washington. Now, I used to live in Texas and they've got a lot of awesome fireworks displays. But let me tell you something. My daughter said, I said, what are we going to do? When the first year here, what are we going to do for Thanksgiving? 4th of July. She goes, oh, let's just have a picnic in my backyard. I'm like, well, where do you want to go for fireworks? She's like, Ma, we don't have to go anywhere. We're right out of our yard. And I'm thinking, oh, I'm like, I like the big fireworks. Well, let me tell you, awesome fireworks display. Everybody and their mother on all the different neighborhoods are lighting their fireworks. And it's amazing. I'm going to flip these over and do an egg wash just because I want them to. Now, you probably need it just to do it on the edges. I'm going to do the whole thing. It's just easier. I could not believe the fireworks display from her yard. Every which direction. You didn't know where to look next. I think that first couple of years, my neck, I went home with a sore neck from looking all over. Well, anyway, I say all that to say I have a live video from last year of some of the fireworks. Now, I didn't have the greatest phone then, but I still thought it was a pretty cool firework display. So, want to see a little bit what a Washingtonian 4th of July looks like, go ahead and check out that video. All right, let's place this on top. And let's just push it down along the edges. We're hoping it's going to stick. Is that looking cute? I'm thinking it's looking really cute. All right, let's finish up the rest. We're going to egg wash the top. Maybe put a sprinkle of sugar on top. Oh, this one I felt too much. It's coming out the sides. Oh well. I don't want to make all my crust yucky, so I'm going to wash my hands. Oh, let's place them on there, then I'll push them down. Oh, how did I get more pie crust? Oh well. I got that other dough. I can some more here. Got plenty of filling. And I'll wipe that off from the pan because I don't want that to burn. If it spills over while you're squeezing it, make sure you just wipe that off because you don't want that's going to burn really quick on your pan. And you don't want that. So you gotta maybe fill a little less than what I did. Maybe a couple of teaspoons instead. See, I'm getting a little lazy at the end. I worked today too, so I'm getting tired. All right, let's clean that off. Got the oven well preheated at 375. There we go. Do the ones that aren't as messy first. Okay. Let's put a little sprinkle of sugar. Sure it is sugar, not salt. I'm pretty sure it's sugar. I've been doing so much baking lately that it could have been. Oh, let's just sprinkle it like that. My fingers were a little wet. Okay. In the oven. Thinking these will take about 18 to 20 minutes. We'll see. Gotta keep an eye on them. It's going to be different timing depending on what kind of what kind of vessel you use. That's a little tiny. It should cook up relatively quick. I'm going to clean up a little and we'll be right back. Let's see how these pies have been in. They've been in about 27 minutes, I would say. I don't think they're quite done. They're almost there. Yeah, they're almost there. They're a little bit crispy, but I want them a little bit more. Getting close. I'm going to put it for 2 minutes. Ooh, they're starting to boil over. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I would say they're done. They've exploded. But they look, yeah, the crust definitely feels done. I think I'll have to look back at my video. I think I had them in here at least a half an hour, which I'm surprised it was that long. I want to make sure this dough is all the way done. All right, I'm going to let these cool down. I'm going to put them on a rack, and I'm going to wait probably half an hour before I try to take them out. At least 20 minutes. But that filling is going to be super hot. Take them off this pan. It'll cool quicker. I think next batch I'll put just a little bit less blueberry so they don't explode so much. All right, let's see how hard these are going to be to take out. I had to run to the store and I ended up leaving these for about an hour to chill. Oh, they're coming out nicely. Oh, and how little cutie pies are these? Little messy. Very cute. All right, that one came out nice. These are so cute. I love these little tart hands. All right, they came out nice. I'm a little nervous. I'm like, I had to run to the store, so I took my chances. They're coming out really nice. Next batch I make, I'm not going to fill them quite as much. I don't like all that explosion, but very rustic, very homemade, right? Super cute. Super, super cute. All right. I'm going to wash these, but we're going to go on to we're going to keep making our little mini pie tarts. How cute. All right, let me show you what I decided to do the third ones. I decided to go ahead and put them in the cupcake pan. And I've got several of them done already, so you don't have to watch the whole thing. I took that leftover dough I had, and I'm using this same top, but I'll show you what I'm doing with that. I have to stretch it out a little bit more because we're covering a little bit more surface with those cupcake pans. Use this long side. Now, I save the plastic wrap. Sometimes it's so much easier to roll out the dough when you save that plastic wrap and put it in there. Let's just put this aside for now. I want to show you what I'm talking about. So take your plastic wrap. Take your disc. Now, you might have a disc big enough to cover your whole cupcake space for your pan. And I'm just rolling this out just a little bit. And I'm putting it between the plastic wrap because it just works so much easier. Oh, we got to check those cupcakes. And we're going to, pies. And then just tuck it down in. And it's great if it's leaning over actually a little bit. So, we'll do the same thing. All right, we'll do the same thing. And then we're going to put these in the fridge to chill up. And we could do the same thing for our tops because we need tops. So we need 8 tops to go with that. So I'm going to put these in the fridge. I'm going to make my other discs. And I have a bunch of others chilling, so we can get filling those. Let us fill the cherry ones. Pretty much putting like a whole tablespoon in here. Patting it down a little bit, spreading it out. But I want to put a little less. Let's put a little more in there. It's a little cold. I probably should let it warm up a little more. I am going to put this back in the fridge though because we got to make the tops for this. In the fridge they go. This batch, I'm going to do partial, like a lattice type of. So I did have my pizza cutter out somewhere. So we're just going to cut little strips. And I still have one disc left with dough. And I might go, for some of my cherry pie, I might go back to those little tartlet pans because those are so cute. That's my favorite. I haven't finished these yet, so. All right, we got that done. Pull out that pan. Move this little. Oh. We're going to put some of our egg wash around the top of the. Now, I think the best deal is if I had enough like this one spreading over. I think that would have been the best. Well, I'm learning how to make these. So. So, let's work pretty good. Let's go like this. One. It won't take much dough. Let's see. Like 1, 2. I think I only need 3. Still gonna. Let's just do 2. So gotta not go way fancy on this. Up that. And we'll clean these up after we. Oh, this one. We do have to clean up a little bit. It's leaning onto the other one. I'm just going over where the cupcake holder ends from the bottom up. And I'm sure some of you have a better idea on how to do this. Kind of just pressing the lattice into that bottom dough. One more. Let's do one on this end. Now, if you had some star cookie cutters, you could cut that out and that would look so patriotic, which I wish I just took my cookie cutters out, went through the trouble, because that's going to look super cute. And then with these ones, I had some leftover cutout discs from our blueberry pie. Well, I'm going to put those on top of these other ones. There we go. press those down in. Remember, we have the egg wash on there, so. And let's just put these in the fridge for a few minutes. All right, let's put the egg wash on here and sprinkle a little sugar on there. I said I usually will use parchment paper, but it was all out. I'm thinking there's enough grease in the shortening in the butter to have these not stick. All right, let's sprinkle the sugar. We're going to bake these till they're nice and lightly golden brown. I'm thinking the least amount of time will be 18 minutes. My guess is 18. Oh, we have a little lump of sugar in there. I don't want that. 18 to 22 minutes, but I might be wrong because these are a little bit bigger. The other ones where I did were a little smaller. And I did so many pies lately, I'd have to look at my notes to see how long the other apple pie ones did. Try not to get a whole lot of sugar on your pan because that will burn. Probably should have sugared those on the our pie crust surface that we were doing that on. Because we don't want to have burned sugar. There we go. I think I got most of it in the oven. It'll smell incredible in here in a bit. It already smells good, but it's going to be incredible once these are done. We'll start at 18 and I'll take a look with my oven light to see where they're at. All right. I don't know if you saw me take them out of the oven, but they're done at 22 minutes. I wondered if I should do it another minute, but the bottoms look real great, and 22 minutes. It is. They're so pretty. Put them right on the cooling rack so they don't stick on the pan. Because we did have a little leakage, but not much. We're going to get the next batch in there. got another cookie tray, baking sheet, and we're going to put those other ones right on there. Let's see if I can fit these all on here. You want to give them a little space because they are going to puff up a little bit. This time I'm going to put it at 20 minutes. This is a different pan, so it could be a little bit different, but I think we're safe to go 20 minutes. We got it in the middle rack. Friends, let's take these last batch out of the oven. Let's see if they are done. Okay, we're like 22 minutes and 30 seconds. Probably could have went another. No, they could have gone another minute because I think they would be too much. Maybe a few more seconds. They are so cute. I hope you enjoyed making these mini pies with me today. Let me know in the comments if you think you'll give it a try. Remember, you got to let these totally cool off before we can eat them. And I'm going to get them right off the pan. I'm going to put one aside that has been cooling because we can try that. Because they're going to be so piping hot and you don't want to burn yourself or your guests. If you show up to the next barbecue or picnic with these, you are going to be a big hit, mama. Or dad. Can't exclude dad. A lot of dads love to cook. And their families are thankful for it. So let's give this a try. Are those so cute? They are so cute. This one blew a gasket a little bit, but not much. And I'll scan these. These really did stay intact. See? They're looking good. All right, so let's give it a try. The other ones I didn't eat on camera. I was too busy, but the cherry and the blueberry were just delicious also. That pie crust, nice and crispy. I have an old pie crust on I'm pretty sure I have an old pie crust video on here on my YouTube channel, but I don't have this most recent where I use Crisco, 2 parts Crisco shortening to 1 part butter. It does make a really nice crispy crust. I'm gonna sit down with something cold to drink. I'm happy with these. These are prettier. So just get the right. Oh, I don't have. I put my lid away. I used a small saucepan lid, and I got this size. So if you want that size, I'm sure you got one sitting in your cupboard. Like I said, thanks for watching today. I hope you have a wonderful 4th of July celebration with your friends and family. And from my house to yours, happy 250th anniversary, America. We'll see you next time.